Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
The commissioner, part of his role is to handle these player manners when they're coming up like this, especially when they are hurting the prestige and hurting the reputation of the Brooklyn Nets and of his own league.
Nick Morgeson.
KD coming out and basically saying we could have kept it quiet when you were basically the town crier running around. It's like, I hate my situation. I don't want to be here anymore. Wah!
And Nick Federa.
He didn't just double down. I mean, he bolted his opinion to the floor. So it's like, and not even hurricane force winds, I think, could knock that down.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Does a worm have balls?
The more you know.
Who knew that a worm didn't have balls?
He's the thinker. Are these kinds of thoughts you ponder in the bathtub? It's like, do worms have balls?
Hey, Roger Goodell was probably thinking about it in the bathtub.
While eating his bonbons?
Exactly. Welcome to episode 161 of Empty the Bench on the Empty the Bench podcast network. Nick Federa, Tom Albano, I'm Nick Morgeson. Follow the show across social media at ETB Sports, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow the Empty the Bench podcast network at ETB Network, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And TikTok did go astray a little bit. We'll get into that in a few moments. But we have a lot to discuss. Some stories kind of that came along the way over the last day or so. Another unfortunate shooting on a college campus, the University of Virginia. 3 of the current football players on the team were unfortunately shot by a former UVA football player who was still on the campus going to college. So we'll get into that whole situation. Again, Kyrie Part 3 rears its ugly head again. Yes. What about me? I'm tired of talking about it as a Net fan.
I know. Plus we have other stories we got to get into. Conveniently, Nick, after last week, Jacque Vaughn got right before our episode could air. Jacque Vaughn got hired as the Nets head coach. And right after our episode aired, we learned that the DC Attorney General is suing Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders. And he's even suing the NFL and Roger Goodell. We have the Colts, Frank Reich, replaced by Jeff Saturday, who a couple of weeks ago was talking about how the Raiders suck from his couch. And now he beats the Raiders in his NFL coaching debut. And he hasn't coached before high school. His only level coaching experience before this was high school.
You know what? We're gonna do it a lot anyway, so I'll just do it.
But we can't forget Broncos country. Let's ride.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that because both those teams are playing in Week 11, first of all.
God. We'll talk about the Astros parting ways with their general manager. Talk about Pete Rose's letter to Rob Manfred. Hey, MLB award season time. Now, obviously, it's Wednesday. We're doing this before the Cy Young can be announced. We're doing this before the MVP can be announced. But we do have our rookies of the year. We do have our managers of the year. So we will get into that. We have some baseball news that has broken in terms of people signing. Anthony Rizzo back with the Yankees. Jacob DeGrom may be leaving the Mets. Maybe my little prediction on where he might be going might be coming to truth. I might be Nostradamusing on this one.
Uh-oh, it's back.
I have to say that.
I haven't heard that phrase in a long time.
And then, of course, NFL breaking down. Let's start with the Virginia Tech story. The Virginia story, however.
Yeah, so this story broke at the beginning of the week. Unfortunately, a former UVA football player on campus. Now, this story has a lot of layers and many different, a lot of legal issues. Apparently, the shooter had a gun and gunned down and reportedly killed 3 current football players and wounded 2 other college students on the campus. I don't know if they were football players. And
Yeah, I think at least one of them was. Again, the information that we're getting right now is very preliminary, so we're trying to approach this from an as cautious a perspective as possible. But as far as what we know right now, the person in question is in custody. The suspect in question is in custody right now, and has not. I don't think had been a member of the Virginia football team.
he was a
Since
former UVA player.
yeah,
Former.
2018, I think was the last time he suited up for them.
He was a freshman when he came in, freshman football player. Then he got hurt, had to have surgery. Never really made it back to the field. The guy in question, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., was the guy who was the shooter. Apparently, they got him without incident. The kid was 22 years old. He's been arrested and charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder and 3 counts of using a handgun in the commission of a felony. That's the other thing that's kind of confusing here. So apparently a law was broken in that form because he did not report to the campus that he had a felony already on record. And that's law that he broke.
Which it really does beg the question: what kind of background checks were you conducting? That you didn't, because every time there is a mass shooting, and we've talked about this many times. Nick and I have on Beyond the Bench, and usually there are some giant flashing neon signs occurring way before any of this happens. So I'm just wondering,
well,
how big were the signs that people missed this time?
They said apparently he was on the investigative radar of the police, and they didn't do anything the first time. And apparently he was part of a hazing incident, which the other people did not want to cooperate with, so that hazing incident went away.
As in he helped with the hazing incident, or he was hazed?
Reportedly he helped in a hazing incident. So there was a lot of signs, apparently, and we see this a lot when there's incidents that people don't want to come forward. They don't want to be in the spotlight. I don't blame them, by the way, but that's when the cases go away, unfortunately, because if you're not willing to testify on your behalf, they can't take the person in custody. So it's a horrible situation. I pray to God they don't play the game because they're supposed to play a game on Saturday.
I think ultimately that comes down to the players. If the players don't want to play the game, I don't think you have a right to force them. If they want to play the game, then you know what? By all means, let them try to play a game.
Well, 3 current players were killed. I wouldn't play that game.
I understand, and I would also agree no. But ultimately, if the players decide that they want to, if the players really feel up to it, do you let them?
Honestly, I don't know if this is a situation where the NCAA getting involved could
be. No, but my point is people grieve in different ways. Maybe for some of those players over there, maybe playing in that football game on Saturday will help with the grieving process. But if it's going to cause more trouble, if it's going to cause more added pressure, then yeah, maybe you don't play the game.
Why would you do it?
But it just doesn't make something I said before. The university learned that Jones had been charged with misdemeanor concealed weapon charges in February of 2021. Did that go under the carpet like a dust bunny?
That's my question, because if he's a student there at the time, you would think maybe the school would be notified that, hey, the student has been charged.
And someone reportedly said or had a report that he had a gun. And they never did anything about it. Like someone reportedly said on campus that he had it, and they never found anything, so they just let it go.
So this is the second time in a 3-month span, I think. Yeah, because San Diego was in for the kicking gun, or Rizzo, that was in August, late August, early September, right?
Yes.
This is the second time in a 3-month span we're asking ourselves what a university was doing, if it was twiddling their thumbs or something like that.
I feel like we need to look at the whole process of how colleges, especially for athletes, because athletes on a college campus think that they have more power than anybody on campus because they're athletes. And now with the NILs and all that stuff, and Nick, I'm not talking from a money standpoint here. I'm just talking about from a power standpoint.
I am God.
Yes. And unfortunately, they think they can do whatever the hell they want, and they think that they're above the rules and unfortunately above the law.
And I mean, unfortunately, Nick, when you look at our society, I mean, sometimes, when you look at schools, it's common that we hear that sometimes we let student athletes get away with a little more. And sometimes, we let not just athletes, but people with celebrity status get away with a little more.
I mean, I saw it the other day, and I don't know who it was, but there's this, and it doesn't matter, but female gymnast who got a $2 million NIL deal. A gymnast getting an NIL deal?
Honestly,
I don't think it's that. I think it's more than $2 million.
Where is it?
What, 19, 20?
And you know what? And I said this many times that I thought the NIL thing was a dangerous thing because now
I think you're getting a little bit off topic here, Nick. I don't think that NIL deals really have anything to do with what occurred here.
No, but I'm saying is it's leading to athletes thinking they could do what they want.
Yeah, but you can't even call the person who really who did this an athlete because he was not an active member.
He was
too.
Well, right. He wasn't active at the moment, but he was a UVA football player.
He was a UVA football player, but again, that was 4 years prior to this. So,
but it's still wrong that a former UVA player went and shot current UVA players.
Absolutely, there are more things you can criticize from how was he able to get a gun and why did you miss this as to shifting the.
No, you're right.
Even if he
NILs.
Even if he passed all the backgrounds to have a gun, guys, I don't think this adds up. Why do you have a gun on a college campus? The college that I went to, I think, had weapon bans.
Well,
they had both colleges I went to had their own police force, so it wasn't really needed.
I mean, when I went to LIU, we had an incident happen on campus where, well, not that it was like dangerous or life-threatening, but we had a woods area behind the college I went to. So sometimes people would run behind there. So we always had campus security like on top of that constantly.
And you remember, Nick, you remember this. I mean, at Hofstra University, Nassau County cops would show up at a drop of a hat.
Well, because they're supposed to, because schools they have to protect the schools in that regard.
So why is it that he was allowed at whatever level? But you're right, Tom. I mean, why was he allowed?
Athlete. I'll say it again. He was an athlete in 2018. That's why he passed all the background checks, because he probably got a scholarship. They're probably paying a lot of money. So you know what they said? Hey, we're going to look behind the curtain and do nothing.
And then
honestly,
he just competed.
I don't think his cachet as an athlete extends that far.
And then you just don't do anything after all these years.
No, I'm not. First of all, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying that he should have been caught. But I'm saying because athletes get a bigger runway than anybody.
But again, he wasn't an athlete at this point anymore.
But he was on campus because he had a scholarship as an athlete.
Did he still have a scholarship, even though he wasn't on
I don't know. I can't confirm that 100%. But I just know that how the police did not catch that he had a gun. How about not knowing he didn't have a felony misdemeanor in 2021?
But police would charge him with that. If you're the university, what are you doing? How is the university supposed to be notified of it? And I would assume that a university is to be notified and is notified about this. So if a student picks up a felony, I would think you would be on top of your what to make sure to do your own investigation to what the heck happened and maybe remove said person from campus.
Well, I'll give you another one, and it's not going to be a popular opinion either. If you got a felony, you can't be on campus.
I mean, that's usually how it works.
How it works. That's usually
no. But I'm saying is like, even if you had past record of felony, like you can't be on a college campus. That's what I'm saying.
Again, usually that's
not a problem.
But I'm saying is, how they say it takes an incident to change the rules and laws. They now need to look at this situation.
It may just be that this is the tipping point.
They need to say anyone who's had a weapons charge or a felony on their record cannot be permitted to a college campus.
Because we are a reactive society and not a proactive one.
And I agree with you 100%. If we had laws in place that said, hey, you were around any type of weapon, or you didn't report that you have a weapon, you're not welcome here at all.
It's a tragedy, whichever way you slice it. So, condolences to the victims and their families. I mean, that's really all you can say at this point.
All right, we move on from this now over to the ridiculous in another light. Why? Why must we with this guy?
I wish I had an answer for you on this one, but you know what?
I think this guy is his own circus.
Probably what he hears in his head.
Wait, what did you say, Nick?
Probably what he hears inside his head.
Well, I was going to break out another one. I was going to save it for later, but...
Okay.
Hey, Kyrie!
Stay off the weed!
That was a long one.
Did somebody fuck with that, or was that actually how long he held that?
He actually did that, yeah.
Oh my god! I was gonna say that sounded like one of those "This Is Sparta" remixes for a second.
I knew I was gonna save that for later, but it was so perfect for now. Kyrie, stay off the weed, because
is there a chance he thinks he's in some kind of stealth covert National Treasure sequel, and he's trying to find the cryptics?
But wait a minute, did you see the tweet?
I was bringing it up right here. Are you talking about this one, Nick? I was not put here on Earth to participate in any religious or political wars or incite racial disharmony, prejudice within communities. We are all equal under the sun, and I am here to participate in the building of an equal world and follow the word from the Most High God, Yah. And wait, what's this? What's this one from? Yeah, it seems like he tweeted something right after that. It was it's the this and the infinity symbol.
I mean, I'll just do it again. I'm so tired of this guy. The Nets should not let him back on the court at all. I'm sorry.
I mean, it really does seem like the Nets put those things in place because they knew he wasn't going to do them. Or,
I mean, give me a break. I mean, I'm so tired of this guy.
Well, that should also that list of things should also have included a moratorium on tweeting.
Well, you know that's not going to happen.
No, Kyrie. Twitter is Kyrie's weed. Twitter is Kyrie's weed.
It's a good point.
I mean, it is a narcotic for people. I mean, as much as it has changed, as much as Uncle Elon is driving it off the cliff, it is a narcotic for people.
I was going to.
You know what? The feeling of being in an echo chamber when that echo hits you, it's like doing the first line of cocaine. It's like, people agree with me. Oh my god, this is fucking amazing.
I was going to say it's more of an addiction. Twitter is an addiction to people.
Social media, just in general.
But this whole Kyrie thing, the Nets should just suspend him for the year and say we're done. That's what I would do at this point. He doesn't want to play basketball. He wants to stand on his beliefs, and that's it. His
beliefs of I did nothing wrong, his beliefs of anti-Semitism, his beliefs that the world is flat, his beliefs that the COVID vaccine will transform you into some mutant zombie. You talking about all those beliefs?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't want to play basketball. It's quite obvious. He wants to stand on his beliefs. He wants to say, my religion and nobody else. I don't give a crap about what goes on the court.
He wants to have his own podcast.
God.
You know what? Maybe, I really, really, really hope this wasn't leading towards him becoming a new kind of Alex Jones, but I really want this to happen.
I'll put a worse thought in your head. Welcome to the Kevin and Kyrie. Welcome to the Kanye and Kyrie show.
Oh,
Jesus!
You don't tell me you don't see that.
You spoke it into existence. Don't do that.
Actually,
Kanye West and Kyrie Irving having a podcast.
and the sick part is it'll be on the Daily Wire featuring Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro would climb over the corpses of his family to try and sign them to a 6 or 7 figure deal. Shit, Spotify might just do it. I mean, they got Joe Rogan. They're already halfway there, so you might as well.
I mean, what did they have? They had Obama, and they had
No. I have a better idea. Why not Kevin and why not Kyrie and Kanye just develop their own network?
Oh God. And let's get, and you know what? We'll get Charlemagne the God to be part of it too.
I mean, having BNN, the batshit news network. I don't know. I don't know if advertisers would really go for that. I mean,
actually,
horse shit they can take and bullshit they traffic in, but batshit, I'm not sure.
Hey, Rogan got paid what, $100 million a year, essentially, to be a podcaster.
But that's the ridiculousness of the situation in a general sense. The fact that the season is underway and we're not talking about the Brooklyn Nets in the context of them being a basketball team.
I've already said that in general. Most of the headlines for the NBA right now. Now, let me point out one thing. First of all, no one really pays attention to the NBA until the NFL playoffs are over. But the NBA is making headlines for the wrong reasons, and that's what's making them more hoisted to the top of SportsCenter or hoisted to the top of the sports news world because the NBA is doing dumb things like Kyrie Irving tweeting out cryptic messages.
It's time for everybody's favorite game. What crazy thing did Kyrie say today?
Spin the wheel! Spin the wheel!
You know what, though? This is actually turning into Colin Kaepernick.
I don't know if I would go with that because.
Please, no. At least Colin Kaepernick does not profess the belief in lizard people.
No.
The second he does that, then I will say this is bad as Colin Kaepernick. The only thing that Colin Kaepernick was saying is, please, we would like to be treated equally. Maybe.
No, but my point is that Colin Kaepernick stood out on a pedestal, and
from that perspective, maybe. But Colin Kaepernick also did not spew hatred against the Jews.
No, I'll give you that. Kyrie Irving is on a rock.
He didn't even spew hatred for cops. So it was like, he wasn't spewing hatred at all. So
no, he just wore pig socks.
Yeah, I was gonna say the pig socks. That's.
But
there's a difference between doing it subtly and doing it overtly. This is Kyrie's. This is him shouting into a megaphone.
I will give you that Kaepernick has toned it down. We haven't exactly heard from him in a couple of years. Kyrie,
we got a settlement.
Kyrie just seems to get louder and louder and louder over the years.
I mean, he's just going to double down and double down and double down until he finally realizes once all his chips are in the middle and he can't play anymore, he's going to be, oops, I don't have any money left.
I mean,
I have a question. Do you think LeBron still wants him in LA?
No. Hell no.
No.
I mean, he'll come out and say the politically correct thing and say, well, yeah, Kyrie's one of the best players in the NBA, and he hit a clutch shot next to me when we were in Cleveland, and we beat Golden State, and blah, 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 blah.
I would imagine there's an angel and a devil on each of LeBron's shoulders, and I could imagine this is something that they're fighting about right now. It's like, yeah, you won a championship with him, but he's crazy. We won a championship with him, but he's crazy. It goes on and on and on and on.
There's no.
Notice how nobody's talking about the fact that the Lakers are 2-10.
Well, and the Nets. Wait a minute.
Trying to get the upset. No, 3-10. 3-10. They won a game. Hooray!
And the Nets lost to the Lakers.
Oh, it's because the Nets.
So.
Nick. Oh my God. I think that calls for this. Hashtag curb your lake show.
By the way, the Lakers, who are the shit show of the NBA right now because LeBron's been hurt. He had a groin injury from jumping up. Yes, he is an old man. That's why he's getting hurt more. But when LeBron is not the full issue of the NBA and you're still losing, that's a problem. And you
Honestly,
and you can't blame Russell Westbrook either.
Yeah, would you compare this to?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One question, Nick, before you go on. Would you compare this to the mid-2010s Lakers, who had Kobe on the team, but still had losing records for like 4 seasons?
Well, the problem with that is it was Kobe Bryant and no one else.
Fair.
So Kobe Bryant,
so in this case, it technically should be worse because there's LeBron and AD and Westbrook.
First of all, AD is one of the biggest disappointments of all time the last couple of years. And by the way, I don't count that championship in the bubble. That was the most bogus championship of all time.
You're going with the Mickey Mouse championship.
It is because, first of all, would you admit everyone was on the same playing field because they all played in the same place?
I mean, not exactly by choice there, Nick.
No. I absolutely 100% agreed. But technically, the playing field was technically all even. There were no home games, even though they tried to fake it and put the logos superimposed onto the court each time. And then they would put the fans in, their home team fans virtually, which made no sense. But I don't know, man. I mean, Kyrie Irving, I would just cut my losses at this point with Kyrie Irving and say, I'm done. No mas.
What were we going to say before, Nick?
I just, you know what? It's basically just where somebody who really has not only in passing heard about the NBA could look at all this over the past 6 weeks and legitimately say, wait, the NBA plays basketball? and there would be a legitimate conversation to be had because you know what? This is dominating the headlines.
I mean, I would basically say this and then we can move on. Kyrie Irving is the bottom brick of the Jenga tower that everyone stupidly tries to pull out.
National Basketball Association? You mean this wasn't the National Babbling Association?
Or the nothing but assholes?
Of course, going with that one. Before we get to all the football, Nick, I think since we're bringing up the Nets, it's only appropriate we talk about your Nets. So the Nets actually did one good thing this week. One good thing. They didn't hire Ime Udoka.
I mean,
they hired Jacque Vaughn.
I mean, since you brought up Ime Udoka, I have to do this.
Yay!
Since you brought up Ime Udoka, I have to bring this up again.
Stay off the weed. Duh.
Now, I have to bring that up again because he's the idiot that said that Ime Udoka got a raw deal from the Nets because he should have been hired by the Nets. And technically, because the suspension was by the Celtics and not by the NBA, he technically could have coached the next day as soon as he was hired by the Nets. I
think the Nets kind of got it right. And it's just, at this point, you just need to get Jacque Vaughn in there and just...
No, I said this to Nick. I am very happy. I watched Jacque when he was on the team many years ago. And I said, Jacque was kind of like your B-plus player, where he wasn't going to put up 50 every night. It didn't mean he was going to only put up 5, but he would get you like 10 to 15 points, 7-8 rebounds, a bunch of assists. He'd be that role player guy. He almost was kind of like your second coach on the court that knew how to get guys motivated, and then eventually made his way to the bench as a coach. By the way, that beard, it looks really good, by the way, that gray and white beard. There are Twitter accounts, Jacque Vaughn's beard out there, by the way.
I mean, his beard, and I think in the football world, you got to go with Lovie Smith's beard.
You do. But you know what? Jacque Vaughn deserved this opportunity in every way, shape, or form. To be fair, I would have been grilling the Nets for weeks if they hired Ime Udoka.
I mean, but it didn't make any sense. Not the Jacque Vaughn hire. If they went going with Udoka, because you're dealing with one controversy. All you got to do is, you say multiple controversies because the Nash thing stretches back to KD's free agent. I mean, trade request palooza during the summer.
During the offseason. Yeah,
during the offseason. And he wanted Nash fired. And so you can even stretch it to that. All you know, what's the next logical thing? Oh, let's bring in a third controversy. Somebody else who's already involved in controversy elsewhere and bring him in here.
I'll steal one from Nick. Gasoline, meet fire.
Exactly.
Oil, meat, water. I mean, at this point, it's like
any reference where the two things are different.
Look, if that had been allowed to go through, I mean, there would have been legitimate questions as to whether attracting controversy was Joe Tsai's sexual kink. Because if that had been able to go through, you would have had to have wondered whether he was getting off on this.
Well, you know,
what, do you like the negative attention?
You know
I
what?
understand you think that any attention is good good attention, but Jesus Christ, even
It's
so,
it's time for the latest edition of That's My Fetish. Here's your host, Joe Tsai.
Here's the thing. I can't blame Tsai. Tsai's been through the ringer, and it's not really his fault. I mean, he gave the money to Durant, so Durant should shut the fuck up.
No, you can't blame Sean Marks either.
No, I was just about to get to that. Sean Marks, and I said it for the last 2 weeks. Sean Marks has gotten a raw part of this, big time.
If Sean Marks does not sign Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in the summer of 2019,
fired.
He's fired, right?
He's fired. He's history. Don't get me wrong, he's a great GM, but you need those players to compete. And I hate to say this because the NBA is not a big three league anymore. It's proven that the theory doesn't work.
I mean, this is pretty much sounding the death knell for the big three. The big three here. You wanted proof that it doesn't work anymore? Here's your proof.
I mean,
it's in the pudding.
Like I said last time, the reason the Heat and the Celtics worked is because you had a bunch of veterans that were willing to take the veterans minimum and play next to the three guys because they were more worried about the rings than the money, because the rings bring money from the outside. People forget that. When you win, what happens off the court?
You get more money and
you get more money.
More endorsements, more money. Now, the one guy that I guess is the exception, not the rule, as Nick would say, is Carmelo Anthony, who eventually made his way to New York, got the money, that's the only reason he went to the Knicks and not the Nets.
But New York is also granted a very different market. Playing in New York, playing in Los Angeles, Chicago, the big market teams, you don't necessarily need to go all the way because the endorsements, I mean, you're in one of the biggest cities of America.
Well, the other argument I would make is NBA players are big brands on their own. That's the one exception. Like when you look at MLB, I wouldn't say MLB has like real individual brands. Like you have to be a real gigantic star in MLB to have a brand.
Well, I was going to make the comparison to like what Johnny talked about last week. I was going to make a comparison with the NFL, though the NFL, I guess it's more about, they try to make it more about the team than about the individual players. The problem is, referring to what Johnny Montalbano from Game On talked about last week about how, but when you have controversies like we've seen with the Nets and the controversies of Robert Sarver, at least when the NFL has its controversies, people still watch. The NBA, as much as they have the individual brands, it's a big question on how this is going to affect their attention.
I'm going to steal something from Nick again. The NBA is me, not we.
I mean, that's a good point. No, I guess maybe everything that's happened as proof.
I mean, I guess maybe, it's not going to hurt the individual players too much.
Well, the example I'll use is look at LeBron. The team is 4-10, and LeBron doesn't care. LeBron's got his endorsement deals. LeBron's got his money. LeBron's got his TV production deals. He's probably got Space Jam 1 million coming in like 2 years. I mean, he doesn't care what happens on the court.
He's still the secret commissioner of the NBA.
Well, yeah, he doesn't care. I mean, the man has made so much money that the money that he makes from the NBA is pennies.
I just got a really funny thought. A player goes in to have a meeting with Commissioner Silver. Commissioner, you wanted to see me? And it's just Adam Silver, and he's just in a chair sitting there like a puppet. And then all of a sudden, like a Scooby-Doo character on this. Surprise, it's me, LeBron James. Oh, no, it's me. It's me, Austin.
That's really good, actually.
Oh, God.
All right. Let's talk about the football for a bit. We're not going to get into the Week 10 stuff right away, but we should bring this up since it broke at the end of right before. Actually, no, right after we have finished going off the air last week. The DC Attorney General, Carl Racine, had released a few statements on.
He tweeted. He tweeted actually.
Yes, he tweeted. This was the day after our show. So I have actually the tweets right here. My office is suing Commanders owner Dan Snyder, the Commanders NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and the NFL for colluding to deceive district residents, the heart of the Commanders fan base, about an investigation into toxic workplace culture. After public reporting revealed that sexual misconduct, harassment, and misogyny ran rampant for decades at the team, the defendants promised DC residents that the league was going to fix this toxic culture, including by fully cooperating with an independent investigation. That was all a lie. Instead, the NFL turned a blind eye to Snyder's extensive efforts to silence or intimidate witnesses, and the NFL and Commanders entered into a secret agreement that gave Snyder power to veto the release of any results. With today's lawsuit, we're standing up for DC residents who are lied to and deceived, and we're standing with the brave victims and employees of the team who told us the truth during our investigation and came forward about what they suffered and witnessed while working. Because these actions largely took place outside the district, we do not have jurisdiction to specifically file suit regarding the workplace harassment and misconduct. But by suing today, we are using every enforcement tool at our disposal to hold the Commanders, Dan Snyder, the NFL, and Goodell accountable.
I'm going to tell you right now, that lawsuit's going to get thrown out so quick. And the reason I say that is because you're directly suing the NFL and Dan Snyder and the Commanders. You really think the court system is going to...
And he kind of admits, since it took place outside the district, there's limited things that they can sue for.
And I have another dumb question, and maybe you know the answer to this. What does this have to do with DC residents?
Because DC residents are the ones who... It is the Washington Commanders. It is Washington's
they
team.
consider the DC area residents your primary clientele going to the games. So technically, they would be the ones that he is referring to, but I would like to think that they would be able to do something, but you're probably right. This is going to be them being stonewalled by just the
this lawsuit.
Greed.
This lawsuit is too big. I'm just going to say that right now.
Also, on the NFL and Goodell end, once again, I know we rat on Roger Goodell a lot. Roger Goodell strikes again and all of that, but who does Roger Goodell work for?
Let me think about it. The owners.
And who is one of the owners of the NFL?
Dan
Snyder.
And for the longest time, I know in recent reports we've heard about how other owners are starting to be unable to stand Snyder and want him gone. But for the longest time, we didn't hear that. For the longest time, it was business as usual, and that, hey, Goodell's got to protect his job, which is actually kind of funny when you heard about that report a couple of weeks ago about how Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft got into the fight because of
But that doesn't surprise me. Those two are the biggest nut jobs in the ownership group, in my opinion.
That's a good way to put it. But
actually, add Dan Snyder into it, and you've got that three-headed dragon.
I mean, no one's arguing the point that Dan Snyder is not guilty as sin here. I mean, he's been operating this team as if it was his own, as if it was if it was a mafia family for the better part of 20 years. So, I mean, nobody's saying that Dan Snyder is an angel, but what I am saying is the system that exists in place, both in the American justice system and within the structure of the NFL itself, is set up to lionize, to be able to bolster, to be able to protect guys like Dan Snyder, not punish them.
Well, I don't know.
Because,
first of all,
like I said, but in our system, both systems, billionaires know best. So,
well, again, I agree with you that that's what people think. Elon Musk rings a bell with the paying $44 billion or whatever he paid for Twitter. Probably the dumbest billionaire in my opinion.
I feel like Uncle Elon is just gonna be a recurring character on the show now.
I do.
Yeah, he's a crazy uncle that no one wants visiting their house.
Let's put Jerry Jones and Elon Musk together and see what parody we can come up with.
Oh God!
Oh, I just got a really bad taste in my mouth, and I just drank water from that.
That is a scientific abomination that I don't even think Dr. Victor Frankenstein would create.
Oh man, if you leave me to those devices, it will happen.
Oh, please don't. Please don't. I don't need you grave robbing to try and create the both of them. Oh God.
But the way I would say this is this story. I understand why they're doing it. I understand why the DC Attorney General is doing it, but there's no way this lawsuit's going to hold up.
Like I said, it's a very noble cause. And again, he's been criming for about 20 years. He's got a rap sheet as long as my arm. So at a certain point, it's like, when is enough going to be enough with this asshole? Because it's
wait a minute. I'll tell you when it's going to be enough. When there's not any money left.
That is literally the only. If he starts costing people, the right people, Jerry, the Maras, some of the other
Kraft,
Jimmy Haslam,
Kraft.
If he starts costing them money, real, tangible money, and not just the $100 bills they wipe their asses with.
No, you know what the answer is, Nick. You know what the answer is. The endorsements need to pull themselves away from the Commanders. That's the only. We know that's not going to happen. But if you saw endorsements like FedEx, is it still FedEx Field? I don't know.
I have to double check. I don't think it is anymore. No, it is still FedEx Field.
So you want the real answer? Go to FedEx, tell them and have them pull their endorsement. That's when you'll see heads roll. I
thought I saw that there was.
They were trying to like get out of it, weren't they?
Something along those lines. Hang on. 2 years ago. 2 years ago, when they were still the Redskins, FedEx actually told them, change your team name or we're going to pull our naming rights.
I don't know why that's the excuse they needed to pull out. I mean, sorry, bad choice of words. But my point is that they need to get away from this situation and just say, hey, we're done. We don't need. Why would you pay to be the endorsement of a stadium of an owner who can't control his team?
I think, guys, if you know the YouTuber Tom Grossi podcast, I think he did a tremendous YouTube short about the state of the Washington Commanders a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, you need to see about what it's like to work for the Washington Commanders and Dan Snyder.
You're lucky they didn't end up on Hard Knocks.
You say that now. You say that.
Can you imagine? I can see it now. Roger Goodell. Hey, Dan, Hard Knocks next season? Sure, no problem.
No, tough shit. You're doing it anyway.
Or that works too, because and the NFL only cares about the attention, not the protection.
It doesn't matter what kind of attention. First, they could be shitting their pants on demand. As long as you're looking at them do it, any attention is good attention.
All right, let's move on.
Roger Goodell could have a spotlight on him in an auditorium of 40,000 people and just squatting down in a little tweed suit going, just shitting his pants. Again, that is good attention to them.
All right. Let's talk about a funny thing that happened on the field. So, guys, Frank Reich got fired by the Colts. And you could say it's about time. The Colts have been a bit of a train wreck the last couple of seasons.
A train wreck?
Look at all the failure.
So so they hired Jeff Saturday. So those of you who don't know who Jeff Saturday is.
Excuse me. They didn't hire him. He was already a consultant for the team, so they didn't need to hire him.
They promoted him.
They promoted him. So they promoted him.
He was the fake assistant or the fake player that they hire that's been in the organization for 12 or 13 years that's a veteran. And they said, hey, we'll throw some money at you. You're not really going to do much, but we want you part of the organization.
They won a Super Bowl with Jeff Saturday, so he's already got that kind of clout. So he was spending the last couple of years as part of the ESPN NFL crew. So he goes from talking about the Raiders on Wednesday to beating them on Sunday. So
Yeah, what the guys? We're forgetting something here. Jeff Saturday, as an official head coach of a team, has not coached a game up until this past week above the high school football level.
Wait, what?
Yes, and he managed. So it was just a couple of weeks ago, like Nick was saying, where he was observing the team as an ESPN reporter and saying, "Man, Raiders are just not good at their sport this year." A couple of weeks later, he's the coach of the Indianapolis Colts, who are in absolute free fall. Jim Irsay, the owner, is getting so much crap and accusations of tanking. And what does Jeff Saturday do? He beats the Raiders, the very same team he criticized on Twitter a couple of weeks ago.
By the way,
ladies and gentlemen, it is, well, far be it from me to criticize hiring a coach with no prior coaching experience. I mean, you can manage the New York Yankees with that kind of resume. So, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, you don't. Maybe the job of being a head coach of a football team requires less thought put into it or an experience doing it than I would have thought, or at least if you played, it makes some sense to you. But I mean, I'm still scratching my head at this move.
But you know what, though? You know what Jim Irsay is saying now that he got a victory?
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop your fucking lying.
And the reason that is because Jim Irsay, as we have it up here, claims the team isn't tanking. What?
He's the meat shield. You know that, right?
Well,
things go wrong. He could just basically throw Jeff Saturday to the wolves the same way he did to Frank Reich and say, we weren't tanking. We genuinely thought this neophyte head coach could take us to a fucking Super Bowl.
You know what the sick part is? If this was Peyton Manning, no one would say anything.
Oh, by the way, on the Raiders end, I'll join in with the rest of the crew. So, the rest of the crew on NFL Twitter. Was firing Rich Bisaccia a good move? Josh McDaniels doing pretty well for you?
Look at all the failure!
Maybe that Adam Schefter not account might have, maybe that was the move that should have been made.
I mean, by the way, people believe that was real.
Maybe that account should have actually been Adam Schefter in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, the sick part is people both thought that was real.
Because it had the blue check mark. That's when we were first getting exposed to the madness that was Twitter Blue. Thank you, Uncle Elon.
I mean, well, you almost fell for it. That's why I literally, when Nick and I were chatting, I'm like, let me go check this out. I'm like, oh, wait.
You saw the blue check mark and I'm like,
yes.
wait a minute.
And I'm not blaming you, but in the Twitter world, people look at the nameplate and the verification, and they don't look across to the handle.
That was the safety mark, though. That was the safety mark, the blue check mark. Now,
not anymore. Now you have an account called @Yankees reporting Yankee signings.
Now you have an account. Now you have an account where you have all the weapon fire in the world to post a meme, a shit post that says this motherfucker paid for Twitter. Remember all the time we would say all the stuff that goes on Twitter, and that app is free.
And you know what? You know what Twitter's saying?
Hey, actually, they're losing money, so it should be a reverse cash register.
Well, they are losing $4 million a day. $4 million losses a day.
How do you do the reverse cash register?
Actually, I could probably turn that. There is a way to reverse a sound. I think I can figure that out.
I know.
Not easily, but yeah.
All right, let's talk some baseball.
Wait, we could talk baseball on this podcast?
Even though the season's over, yeah, we're talking more about baseball now than some weeks during the actual baseball season. Sad to say.
Yeah, that is pretty sad, actually.
Let's start with this. This letter by Pete Rose. Pete Rose is out again trying to get into the Hall of Fame. So let's see. Do I have the letter in front of me? Oh, I do.
I mean, first,
All right. I have the letter now from Heat Rose to MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred.
Hello, Robert.
No,
Hope
it
you're
just says
doing well.
no, it just says to Rob Manfred, Commissioner of Major League Baseball. Although, you know what? You know what would have been a better start to this letter? The words of the Adele song. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Or actually,
Put
her
me
other
in the fucking Hall of Fame. I'm freezing my ass out here.
her other song would have been more appropriate. Someone like you.
All right. To Rob Manfred, Commissioner of MLB. I have apologized many times both for betting on baseball games while managing the Cincinnati Reds and then for denying that I did. I am writing today for 3 reasons. First, because at my age, I want to be 100% sure that you understand how much I mean it when I say that I'm sorry. Second, to ask for your forgiveness. And third, because I still think every day about what it would mean to be considered for the Hall of Fame. The 2 most important people in my life were my dad and my manager, Sparky. My dad introduced me to baseball, and Sparky taught me how to play it. Both set an example for about how to live my life that I sometimes have failed to live up to. I think every day about them. I know I disappointed them, and I hope that they would still be proud of me. What helped set me down the right path was Commissioner Giametti telling me to reconfigure my life and the belief that they were watching me and I didn't want to disappoint them anymore. I also know that I disappointed many Reds fans and baseball fans. Besides spending time with my kids and my partner, there's nothing that's made me happier than playing baseball in front of the fans. That I let them down and brought shame to the sport we all love is something I think about every single day. It is among my greatest regrets that I let down fans who believed in me and who love baseball. It is also among my greatest regrets that I let down my teammates and everyone I have ever shared a baseball field with. You can't imagine how painful it is when I see my teammates from all the great teams that I played on and players I played against go about their lives in ways I wanted to. I want to be part of that too, and I know I probably never will. I'm so grateful for the time that I shared with them on and off the field. Nothing replaces it. People think you move on after you leave the game. You do in many ways, but the most important parts of baseball should grow even stronger, and I screwed that up. I am asking for your forgiveness. Despite my many mistakes, I am so proud of what I accomplished as a baseball player. I am the hit king, and it is my dream to be considered for the Hall of Fame. Like all of us, I believe in my accountability. I am 81 years old and know that I have been held accountable and that I hold myself accountable. I write now to ask for another chance, Pete Rose.
Okay. I need to do one thing first.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you
He was
always
waiting for it.
lying? Oh my god. Stop your fucking lying.
I mean, you believe in your own accountability?
I mean, considering what he was banned for is now legal, and they're making fucking money off of it every goddamn day.
I agree with you on that, by the way. But to say he believes in his own accountability, come on.
I mean, the only thing is, I feel like we've heard him basically say that he doesn't exactly need the Hall of Fame.
And by the way, I don't believe him for a second. Because what is he doing now? He gambles. I think he's endorsed by a gambling company, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 2019, MSG Networks. Pete Rose not worried about getting into the Hall of Fame.
Okay, so off of that alone, this is the one time I would say to Rob Manfred, do not take him.
I disagree. I'd say, you know what? At this point, what he did is no longer illegal, so therefore put him in.
It was illegal at the time, though. And it's still kind of illegal betting in games that he managed in.
The only reason is because he's just being petty. He's being petty with these letters.
Honestly, I think it's the other way around. I think Manfred and Selig before him are being a little petty, not putting him in. I mean, the minute you allowed yourself to get in bed with DraftKings and FanDuel, you end again. You any moral high ground you had.
That I agree with. That I don't think it should be for the gambling merit. I think it's his attitude and his opinions towards the Hall of Fame is why he shouldn't get in. Okay? He said, and by the way, there's another issue I have with him, which is the way he handled the sexual misconduct situation when he went back to Citizens Bank Park and basically said that was what is it?
When he called, didn't he call the reporter something?
Well, no, but he said it's out of what is it when it's out of time or whatever.
Basically that the limits on it passed.
The
Statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations.
And that rubbed me the wrong way in so many ways when he basically and he said that on TV.
No, it was 55 years ago, babe.
Right.
That's what I mean. Calling the reporter babe. Just
and that bothered me in so many ways. Nick, you're right about the gambling. I would put him in for the whole gambling thing because again, MLB, like every other professional sport, is making what? Making what?
Money hand over fucking fist.
Well,
but you're right. He is an asshole, especially how he dealt with the sexual misconduct allegation.
Well, I mean, Ty Cobb was kind of an asshole.
Ty Cobb was kind of a world class.
You could say Babe Ruth was an asshole. I mean,
you could say that, and honestly, guys, it's not just the gambling thing, because bring it up again. I know Pete Rose didn't participate in this era of baseball, but we talk all about the steroid era and all those guys who aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Again,
that's a good point.
Though, I would say it's a different generation of baseball.
My point is, I think the Hall of Fame itself is in kind of
I think the Hall of Fame is a joke. That's what I think. First of all,
I think there is still some shrine to it, but it doesn't ring as brightly. I mean, shine as brightly, and maybe it's because the steroid era was the era that I grew up in. So we all did, guys, yeah. Right? I mean, all the three of us did. So we're talking about all those guys we watched, like Bonds and Clemens,
McGuire,
Sosa, McGuire, and A-Rod, and they're all not in the Hall of Fame.
The list goes on and on and on.
Big Papi is because everybody loves Big Papi.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
I do like Big Papi. It's just,
I mean, if you're going to put one in, you got to put them all in. You can't stand Big Papi up on a pedestal and say, well, you know what? He's such a nice guy, and we feel bad for him because he got shot in the Dominican Republic and whatever. But you know what? We'll put him in because he's on Fox and he's great and he's funny. He's got a personality. Unlike A-Rod, who somehow ends up on TV all the time and sucks as a personality. But if you're going to put Ortiz in, you got to put A-Rod in. I hate to say it. I hate A-Rod. And I'd be fine if he disappeared and never showed up anywhere again. But you got to put A-Rod in if you put Big Papi in.
Gentlemen, we have history in a different kind of way. So there was this World Series winning executive on the New York Yankees during the 1940s.
McPhail.
Larry McPhail. And after the 1947 World Series, he proved to be so unpopular that basically his stake from the team was bought out, and he was, and he parted ways with the team. That was 1947. Guys, that was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 75 years ago. And we haven't seen a World Series winning executive leave a team ever since then.
Wow.
Until now. James Click, who was the general manager for the Astros for the past few seasons, after taking over Jeffrey Lunhow, after Lunhow was
the cheating scandal,
excommunicated from the cheating scandal by the owner of the team.
By the way, you know what's funny about that scandal, by the way? So he was the Cardinals GM? Or he went from the Astros to the Cardinals, and he tried to take the...
Are you talking about Lunhow?
Yeah, he tried to take the computer models and all this stuff out of the system and bring it over to where he was. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, yeah, that was back in the day. That was a tech way of taking all your assets and leaving.
So, first time in 75 years that an executive doesn't return to a team that just won the World Series. James Click out of position now. Supposedly, here's why I use the term part ways and not fires or anything, because it's kind of confusing. So the Astros offered James Click a 1-year deal with a raise. However, he wanted a longer-term deal. The Astros would not give it to him. There were smaller general manager meetings, not the winter meetings that are coming up next month, but smaller meetings.
The pre-meetings.
The pre-meetings, yes, you can call them. And it was there where he let some of his frustrations out in public, let's say. And the team did not take too kindly to it. So they said, you know what, let's just end things here.
I mean, what the hell are you doing? Why, if you know you're trying to create leverage for yourself, why would you go to the pre-meetings where all the GMs are and air out your dirty laundry?
To be honest with you, though, as much as I would like to advise against biting off the hand that feeds you, he won a World Series. Pay up, bitch. Because it's like...
This is the one time I agree with Nick, by the
I
way.
mean, here's the thing, and I said...
He took your team. Go ahead.
Because I kind of said this in the minute, and I think I know where you're going with this next. So, yeah, you can make the argument maybe Lundhouse set the foundation for the team. But the World Series winning general manager, the person whose name is going to be there is James Click.
And I'll go even further than that. He brought your franchise back from the brink of oblivion and won it with pieces that he installed. Christian Javier, Framber Valdez,
Jordan Alvarez. Yeah. I mean, that team.
I think those were his pieces, weren't they?
I think I'm not 100% sure, but what I will say is, Yankee fans like us are going to hate what I'm about to say, but their prospecting is some of the best in Major League Baseball.
Evidently, I mean, their rookie shortstop just won World Series MVP, didn't he?
And he won LCS MVP.
So again, the results are there, and you're going to nickel and dime the guy who gave you the only legitimate World Series championship you have.
The one
Jordan Alvarez was a Lundhouse guy. Jeremy Pena, I'm gonna look up him.
I think that was a Click guy, if I'm not mistaken.
No, drafted in 2018. He made his debut this year though, so
he might have brought him up.
Still, there are a million ways that this team could have imploded, and James Click kept it together.
Well, and the bringing in a Dusty Baker, so you're bringing in Dusty and James together.
I'm going to steal an opinion from Johnny when I filled in on Game On last week, that he thought, and I agree with it, there's a power struggle going on with Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros. He believes that the team won the World Series because of him and nobody else.
Which isn't necessarily true. It's not.
I agree with you. I'm just saying that's what Jim Crane thinks.
Which I think if you're Jim Crane, if that's true, I think that's really narcissistic of you, because you needed, think about it. You had all those choices for manager, and you bring in Dusty Baker. You needed somebody who was an old school mentality. Yeah, maybe it was a good decision by you to bring him in, but what if it was a failure? Then you would have had all that blame. Dusty kind of, controlled that clubhouse and helped lead them. I mean, 3 straight LCSs, 2 World Series appearances, 1 World Series on a partridge and a pear tree.
The one thing, if I had to make an argument for the Astros, and I don't do this very often, James Click was an R&D guy before he became the GM. Okay?
When you say R&D, you mean?
Like a research development guy.
Yes.
So he didn't really have a GM background. So I get it.
But he knew the players. Right. He knew the players. But if you're not a GM, I hate to say it, he doesn't have the background. Maybe that was part of it. But again,
I'm sorry, but that reads like a bunch of horse shit to me.
But again, he won the World Series with the team, so he has the leverage.
Series, so therefore, he gets the ability to brag.
And I guarantee
I'm not disagreeing.
And I guarantee you, Nick, there will be a team that will score.
Oh no, absolutely, someone will pick him up for sure. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm thinking of a team in Michigan that might need him. Actually, he'd be a good GM down there.
Oh, kind of like where the former manager of the cheating Astros got sent to.
Yeah, pretty much. No, but I actually think Detroit will be good in a couple years from now. But
there were Yankee fans calling for the Yankees to wine and dine James Click.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous, but you know what? It would be a different approach, and if there's anything, we're starved for different results.
Imagine if we. Yes, I was just saying for the purpose of comedy, guys. Imagine it's like they wine and dine the players, and then they go into the big, to the stadium, and on the big screen, the big jumbotron of Yankee Stadium. Welcome James Click.
New York Porch, the parody account, did that whole thing as a bit on Twitter.
That's where I saw it.
And by the way, James Click would not be able to do what he's doing now with the Astros because the Yankee ownership wants to win now. That's all they care about. Now, will they sign Aaron Judge now that Anthony Rizzo is back in the fold on a 2-year deal?
Yeah, that's a good segue. So let's
segue. Anthony Rizzo back on a 2-year deal with a 3rd-year option.
Which I don't think you're going to see. You're not going to see that 3rd-year option.
Here's an interesting ideal. So they brought him back on a 2-year deal. It's what, 13? No, not 13.
It's like 16 plus a year.
Yeah, I'll look up the new contract because
I think it was
okay,
good.
Okay, it's $40 million 2-year deal. It's $17 million in each of the next 2 seasons, plus a $17 million option for 2025. However, the reason it's a $40 million deal,
$6 million buyout.
If they decline the option in before 2025, they have to pay him $6 million.
That's a huge buyout, by the way, also.
But there's a reason that they did this, and I think it's because, 2 reasons. Number one, he's Judge's buddy, as we have already established.
But I want to clear air on that partially, because everyone says, regardless of the sport, hey, if you sign my buddy back, the big free agent will come with the team. I don't think that's always true. I think in this case, it is true. I think Judge and Rizzo get along, but I'd be careful.
Yeah, it's not an automatic. However, this might come as a controversial kind of opinion, but I think as much as I think the Yankees are going to hurt if they don't sign Aaron Judge, I think it would have hurt just as much if they did not re-sign Anthony Rizzo, because without Anthony Rizzo, who do you have at first base? You have DJ LeMahieu, but are you really going to give up his infield flexibility? Yeah, I know you have Oswald Cabrera now, but wouldn't it be great to have 2 guys to plug and play rather than just the one?
It's not like Anthony Rizzo was some piker. I mean, he's fantastic clubhouse guy. He's still got his bat. He hit 32 home runs this year, and he's a vacuum cleaner when it comes out at first base.
And I think the only reason he has a short-term deal, even though he's going to be 35 the next time he hits free agency, is because I guarantee you, I think his last contract he takes a 1-year deal with the Cubs and retires a Cub.
I was also going to say the shift rules are going to benefit Anthony Rizzo at the top of the list.
That is true. That is true too. But also, who did you have at first base? Because you had DJ LeMahieu, but you risk his flexibility, and then.
But you know what though? If I had to play devil's advocate on that would keep him from getting injured as much.
I mean,
but also I got to go into my history here because I just had the link before, guys. We were going over it for the New York Yankees season. I mean, who else are you going to put there? Are you going to put I know he's not under contract anymore, but Marwin Gonzalez.
Who I would put there?
Ronald Guzman. Yeah, you're going to put one of those 2 above Anthony Rizzo?
I'm about to give you a very unpopular opinion, probably.
Oh, God.
But I would put Stanton at first base.
What?
I would.
What?
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Wait a minute. Let me turn up the gain on my mic. So wait. Say that again.
Listen to me before you jump all over me, because I think you'll understand in a second.
I just these words. Is it possible to use them in a sentence?
First of all, he's an outfielder, and outfielders do play first base, so it's not technically out of the realm.
Every outfielder, Nick. It's not. It's not illogical. If this person is an outfielder,
wait, but that's not the only reason. First of all, Albert Pujols was an outfielder before he transitioned to first base and had a Hall of Fame career.
And John, I was going to say, and John Stanton is not Albert Pujols. I don't mean that in terms of their accomplishments and if they're great players or anything, but not every outfielder can play first base.
No, but my point is you have a logjam at your DH position, okay? You put him in first base. That's a position where he doesn't have to move as much. It's not a tough position to learn. I think he could benefit.
Not a tough position to learn. So, Nick, you're going on about how Stanton gets injured. So let's say Josh Donaldson overthrows the ball to first base and Stanton has to jump up and reach the ball at first base, and he comes back down landing hard and hurts his knee.
You're talking about freak injuries, though. That could happen to anybody. I'm serious. Freak injuries can happen to anybody.
You're nuts.
You're nuts.
You're
You are
out of your
absolutely.
mind.
You are
Okay, but
absolutely
you can't put him in. Wait a minute. You can't put him in the outfield because, again, he's a detriment. You have a log jam at your DH
He's
position.
not a detriment, though. His fielding, I think, is above average in terms of statistics, isn't it?
He couldn't run down the balls in left field at Minute Maid.
You're
going to
talking
make
about
me check the analytics, aren't you?
You're talking about a log jam over in the outfield. Actually, and this is bad because you're getting me off track. Because my point was, I mean, it was Anthony Rizzo, one of those guys, try to get Marwin Gonzalez or Ronald Guzman back, or having some old guy at first base like a freaking Jose Abreu or a what's his name, Eric Hosmer. They didn't have a choice. They needed to get
Eric Hosmer. The only reason he's up in the majors is because he's a Gold Glover at first base. That's what's saving him from staying on a roster.
I mean, you could argue that with Josh Donaldson too in his contract, but that was actually, you know what, good transition because that's it. You're talking about a logjam at DH. I think you have a bigger problem. You have a logjam over
with the middle infield,
with the left side of your infield. And I was reading a thing from the score, and the score, I forget which writer was, pissed me off because because they said, okay, 30 teams, one free agent they should target. And they had Judge going to Giants. Big deal. And guess who did they had the Yankees going after? Trey Turner. And it's like, here we go.
Well, okay. Can I base some logic on that? So I think if Aaron Judge does not sign with the Yankees, then I don't see that as an out of the realm possibility.
But Nick, Josh Donaldson, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa.
I think Kiner-Falefa is not on this team, to be honest. I don't think he's going to be here.
You don't think he gets tendered a contract?
No.
I mean, you have the hearsay of they're going to keep Donaldson, the hearsay of IKF will have a look at him in the spring, and the hearsay just a couple of days ago that they're going to give Hicks another shot in the outfield.
Well, that's a big mistake.
I think maybe some of that I shouldn't say maybe. I'm hoping as a Yankees fan, some of that is just hearsay because they're trying to work some trades. But again, Nick, I'm sorry, but let me get to my point. Donaldson, IKF, Oswaldo Cabrera, Oswald Perez, Anthony Volpe in AAA, and now you're going to add Trey Turner to the mix. And if you're going to stretch it over to second base, you still have Glaber there. That's too many people. You only have a limited number of positions.
First of all, the Yankees made a mistake not making trades, at least with one of those guys, to go out and either get a pitcher. Because if they did that,
that's my thinking. Maybe they're going to trade one or two of those guys to try and get that Pablo Lopez deal from the.
I think Glaber's the one that's going to be on the way out. To be honest, it's
going to be him and it's going to be him and somebody. Him or IKF plus another for Lopez at least.
And believe it or not, I think Glaber could bring back a decent return if you go to the right team. I think so as well. IKF, I mean, here's the thing with IKF, and especially if you bring him back, it's probably like another Dom. Like it made the comparison, it's another Dom Smith where you've been playing him out of position. I was going to say, actually, it reminds me a little bit of Brett Gardner, also, where he's really more speed, not hitting. I think the Yankees and IKF could be a good fit, but for the makeup of the team that they have now, and the fact that Donaldson is the logjam over at third base, and you can't slide him over like we thought that they could have, then it's not a fit right now. It's best for everybody. I kind of agree with you that maybe somehow these two sides kind of go their separate ways. Yeah, I just think they made a mistake. They should have went after a pitcher. Now, I know they went after Montez, but Montez is a bust, as any big bust right now, between the injuries and just
I would not fully go to say bust. However, I will say he does need to have a bounce back 23.
I would say also he reminds me of another pitcher the Yankees traded for out of Oakland,
Sonny Gray. But again, I think they got Frankie in his a lot more for next year than they did for this year, because there had to have been some people within the organization that knew because of his shoulder, because there was limited
Well,
efficacy about what you were going to get out of him this year.
well, let me throw something out there. Let's say they do re-sign Judge. Is it still a mistake? Okay, like they re-sign Judge. Is it still a mistake if they don't try and pursue any trades? If they just re-sign Judge and say, "Okay, we're done."
It is a mistake. It's
Because
absolutely
I think if they do that, then what they're saying is actually what they believe.
They're
and
running
that
it back.
That injuries were the reason why, and I don't.
That's
Yes,
bald.
but
Not
also
the case.
yes, but also no, because you know what? And I think Nick, you both have said this. The best teams get around their injuries. The Astros got around their injuries. The Phillies got around
Well,
injuries. Bryce Harper didn't play for what, a month or two in this
more
season?
than that. I mean, his thumb injury was a problem all year. But I was going to say the reason. But
he was healthy. He was healthy for the playoffs, though. It's
Right,
not like he got
but my
hurt
point,
all the
but
time.
my point is the best teams know how to get around their injuries.
But
Yes.
To say
let-
to say injuries cost us, well, I mean, what
no
was
one's
your
going to feel
answer?
no one's going to feel sorry for you because of
Right.
your injuries.
Injuries are part of the story, not the full story.
But let me point out one thing with the Astros. The Astros had amazing pitching. That's what helped them get around the injuries. I mean, you have the Cy Young Award winner, even though his own brother voted for him in the Cy Young voting. But
Oh, I can't wait to talk about that next week.
but Verlander won it regardless. He was going to win it unanimously anyway. By the way, the man is 39 years old, coming off Tommy John surgery, and wins the Cy Young Award. And he finally got off the hump and won a game in the World Series. But when you have guys like that, and you have that whole pitching rotation, like that's going to get you around your injuries. The
It is
Yankees,
going to get you around your injuries.
Yankee pitching, unfortunately, was what, a C- at best.
Well, here's
No, I would say it was a B- because honestly, you got not to relitigate the season again, but what Cole came out and showed you was definitely heartening. I would say.
I mean, how many home runs did he give up?
Yeah, but in the regular season, yes. But I think in the playoffs, I think the team's hitting let him down.
You know what? I'll give you credit. He really carried them. I think he went 7 innings and 8 innings in that series with Cleveland.
Yeah, I think he was let down by the team and
the bullpen.
I was gonna say, and the bullpen, and maybe because of bullpen by stretch of it.
Actually,
Booney a little bit.
I was going to
bullpen moves.
One step further. You could say Aaron Boone let him down. I mean,
you could make that argument.
But we'll have plenty of time to talk about the MLB hot stove in the off season. But
yeah. Speaking of, let me bring up one other thing. So there was a report. We talked about the Yankees. Let's talk about the other side of town, the Mets. Guys, Nostradamus might be coming back to fruition. Because there is a report that Jacob DeGrom has reportedly told the Texas teams, the Rangers and the Astros, he is interested in joining. And I guarantee you guys, what did I say? The Rangers are going to be so desperate. They fired their president of baseball operations, and now they have in what's his name? Oh, Chris Jury.
They fired him, didn't they?
Wait a minute. I put in Rangers president, and it gave you the New York Rangers. Why did they do that? John Daniels. That's who they fired, though, wasn't it?
They fired John Daniels.
Chris
Young. The pitcher, Chris Young. Yes.
And supposedly Chris Young, from my understanding, they spent all that money on Marcus Semien and Corey Seager last year, and they still got nowhere because their pitching, while improving, is still very lacking. I guarantee you guys, the Rangers are going to act with desperation. They are going to want to prove those big contracts correct. And what they're going to do, I guarantee you, they will give him a 4 or 5 year, $100+ million deal.
And I'll sum this up in one way. Actually, I almost played the wrong one. And the reason I chose that one and something else is because they're going to go way overpriced, like you said. They're going to pay $100 to $120 million to a pitcher that can't stay healthy for a full season. And it's going to bite them in the ass when he gets hurt again.
Meanwhile, every Mets fan is going, told ya!
I mean, and that's the thing. It's the Mets. They don't exactly...
Mets fans want him back.
They want him back, but you know what? It's not too bad to not... If this was a few years ago, yeah, you would really need him back. But guess what? You still have another season or two with Max Scherzer. I think I would take Max Scherzer over Jacob DeGrom right now as my ace.
Yeah, but he was hurt also. By the way, if I'm the Rangers, Jacob DeGrom, 34 years old, you're going to give him 4 or 5 years? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't put it past them. Let's talk about some awards, guys. So we can't get the Cy Young and the MVP because those haven't happened yet. We'll talk about
maybe we'll drop some videos if they come out.
But let's talk about the Rookie of the Year. Julio Rodriguez of the Mariners won it on the AL side. I think that was a no-brainer. Even though there's Adley Rutschman too, I think J-Rod winning the home run derby, just putting on a hell of a performance.
He carried that team. It kind of reminded me, and Johnny said this too. Like, he had a lot of good takes over the last week. He said that it reminds him of Ken Griffey Jr., and I agree. He carried this team.
And to be honest with you, I think they've got some. Look, they've got somebody special in their hands. Absolutely well deserved. He would have been my pick.
They awarded him
above everybody.
Guys. They awarded him that ridiculous contract.
Oh, you mean that sliding scale contract?
Yeah, that's how much they believe in him, and he's kind of lived up to it in his rookie year.
Seattle's going to be on the hook for a lot of money because he's going to hit a lot of those escalators.
So let's keep our countdown clock as to when he ends up in free agency with the Reds.
Oh, God. Michael Harris over on the NL. I mean, it had to be a Brave. It had to be a Brave. The Braves ended up being a really good team.
That core, and I'm going to
stay, yeah.
I'm going to say this for many years as we do this podcast, that we're going to be talking about the Braves.
They're going to those guys are built to make you piss your pants. So.
I mean, you're going to see that core together for the next 5 to 7 years, at least.
They're going to be another team of the decade. Manager of the year, Terry Francona won on the AL side. I feel like that's got to go. I feel like it should have gone to Cervais. The Mariners reaching the playoffs for the first time in 21 years.
I mean, I've said this too, that Cervais is one of those guys with the Mariners that
Service,
right? That is a player's guy. He understands what it's like to fight for his players, including literally fighting in a brawl with the Angels this season. He is going to be on your side fighting. He knew how to motivate those players. How long has it been since Seattle made the playoffs?
21 years.
I mean, that's a large feat in itself to get a team motivated enough to compete, including with the Rookie of the Year candidate on it.
And as much as they got embarrassed by the Astros, they made it out of the wild card round. They actually won a playoff series for the first time in 21 years, too.
They could have won that series against the Astros.
Yeah.
They could have.
So, and I think as much as the Guardians technically won the division, I feel like it was more. I mean, first of all, that division was a dumpster fire anyway. And second of all, it really, this should have been the White Sox time, and they just utterly collapsed.
And by the way, I could debate the whole Buck Showalter win also.
101 wins. Remember, Nick, regular season, you can't count the postseason. As much as I just talked about with the Mariners, 101 wins, second most wins in Mets history.
You're telling me the Rob Thompson situation shouldn't get some accreditation? But
they ended up, I understand, but they also finished as a number 6 seed, and nobody expected them to make the run in the playoffs.
What about Snicker?
Again, you can't count the postseason. So you can't count.
I think Snicker turned them around big time also in the second half.
Snicker, I think, is definitely a good debate too. But I think for what the Mets did accomplish this year, you have to give Buck some credit. And I don't really have a problem with him getting the NL Manager of the Year. I think I have way more of a problem that Francona got AL Manager of the Year than
that one bothers me. I think
bothers me.
Service should have gotten it.
So that is the baseball news of this week. NFL Week 10. Guys, I think I can only sum up NFL Week 10 with Bills versus Vikings.
My God.
On one end, we could say, we all got the upset correct. On the other hand, that was probably one of the greatest games that we have ever seen.
First of all, not by the normal outcome. I mean, Josh Allen throwing a pick in the end zone, which
if you were on the strongest LSD in the market, I don't think you would have been able to predict that.
And by the way, and I have to say one thing because I'm seeing this all over social media. Anyone who told them to take a fucking safety is an idiot.
What?
Yes.
What? Wait, what?
Yes. Why would you take a
Wait,
safety
what are you
there?
suggesting they do as an alternative?
Move your feet and get out of the end zone.
Josh
But they
Allen was
couldn't
hurt.
do that.
First of all, Josh Allen was hurt. Second of all, Nick, I hope you understand why they were saying it, because if you take the intentional safety, if you take the intentional safety, then it's 27-25. 27-25. And then the last play of the game, last couple of seconds, they do a free kick. It's most unlikely. It could have happened, but most unlikely the Vikings were going to go down the field on a free kick, 80, 90 yards.
I think they were going to win the game anyway. I just think that's the way the game was heading.
I think you're a little ridiculous.
You're a little ridiculous.
Do we all think the Vikings are a better team than the Bills right now?
Right now, yeah.
In my opinion, Josh Allen shouldn't have started.
I love the Vikings, but I don't know if I would. I don't know. I think the Bills are still a better team.
But you don't know which Kirk is going to show up week to week, so that's the problem.
Well, big game Kirk doesn't exist.
Right.
Prime time record, anybody?
Right. I was going to say, once they get a playoff game in prime time, we're going to see Kirk regress.
He's just going to wilt like a bunch of flowers.
Or here's the thing. Here's the big thing. You can't even blame Kirk, or you can't blame Cook not getting into the end zone, because what would have lost them the game was, once again, it just seems like every time there is a big Greg Joseph miss. And I guarantee you, they might lose a playoff game because of Greg Joseph.
If he doesn't miss a kick, we're not even having this conversation.
Right. If he makes
one of those.
If he makes the extra point, we're talking about, we're not even putting any blame on him. But
that game's over.
If we put week after week after week with him.
First of all, I don't think Josh Allen should have started that game, to be honest. He looked hurt.
That's not my call, but they still.
Do you risk?
Okay.
What happens if he gets hurt even more seriously? You lose him for the year.
That's a risk. You're right. Yeah.
And then your chances are over if you have to start Case Keenum. By the way, ironically, the Minnesota Miracle.
Right. Hey, the fact is that now that the Vikings won and Dolphins won, if the Jets beat the Patriots next week, the Bills are in a little bit of trouble. Actually, no, the Bills are in trouble because now the Dolphins have taken first place, haven't they? And the Dolphins are on a bye. If the Jets beat the Patriots next week, then it's a Dolphins and Jets at the top of the AFC East, and the Bills are a game back.
Yep. Who would have thought the Jets would have had a chance to be number one in their own division? Not me. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, not me.
But just we'll quickly look at some of the games, as I'm a week ahead of myself here. But week 10, Seattle, Tampa, we all got frustrated by that game.
Oh, the Germany game, which was an absolute bore until the Seattle decided to get it more interesting in the for whatever reason in the last few minutes of the game.
They realized, they said, oh, wait, the running's not working. Let's have Geno Smith throw it 40 times in the second half and see if that works. It kind of worked. And then, of course, the dumbest penalty of all time, Tom Brady getting called for a tripping penalty on a wide receiver route.
Oh, speaking of, I don't want to say dumb, but guys, I think it's time for another edition of... So, Titans versus Broncos, and the Broncos lose the game because Russell Wilson fumbles. Of course.
Broncos country. That's right.
This team is a dumpster fire.
Oh, God.
Wait a minute. That's right, though. We could say Russell Wilson could ride his subway all the way home.
Oh, God. We all predicted the Dolphins over the Browns as our lock of the week, and guess what? Hit. Big time hit.
I have to do this too because Vegas.
Stay off the weed.
What was Vegas thinking making that a 3.5 line?
I don't know, but I'm happy for it. Hold on. Oh, I forgot to put the batter back up after Broncos country. Let's ride. Giants won.
I
And
mean,
now that,
but the Davis Mills experience had 319 yards.
yeah.
And that's a problem. Nobody said that this Giants team was not flawed, and they are.
But you know what? They are now one game out of first place in the NFC East because, gentlemen, the Washington Commanders have somehow upset the Philadelphia Eagles.
I'm sorry, though. I'm still mad about that end play, to be honest. I don't get it. You can't call the penalty. You have to swallow the whistle there.
But I understand the frustration. I understand the swallow the whistle philosophy. But we have seen we have seen defenders get penalized for way less hits on quarterbacks.
Oh no, I'm blaming Tom Brady for that. You see what Heineke did? A flag, throw the flag. I mean, come on.
You didn't tuck me in. Good night.
I didn't want to read Good Night Moon. I wanted to read Hop on Pop.
I was waiting for the cookies and warm milk to show up. I mean, you can't throw that flag there. I'm sorry. You can't do it.
Imagine the kind of complaints that Deshaun will make once he gets back on the field.
God. And the worst part is, who's the referee? Alex Hemp, or who was the referee of that game, was talking to the pool. I love that, by the way, when they talk to the pool of reporters after the game. And he basically said, oh, yeah, on top of that, we probably would have called it for head and neck.
I mean, it was a little head and neck.
But how do you stop? How do you stop as a defender?
Welcome to the NFL, Nick.
Yeah.
And by the way, the refs missed a face mask on the Commanders, which would have changed the game also.
Also, one last thing to note, Cowboys versus Packers, and the Packers come away with the win. So Packers actually end their losing streak, and once again, Aaron Rodgers wears the pants over Mike McCarthy.
I mean,
RELA.
I knew that was fucking coming. LUCKY.
I mean, you're right, but you have to kind of blame Mike McCarthy for the decision making.
Well, you know what? I am happy because the Giants are now one game out of the NFC East, and guess what? Technically, since now the Vikings and Eagles share the same record, the Giants are also one game out of the number one seed in the NFC.
I can't wait. Like at the end of the season,
I drew it up. Said no one ever.
Can you imagine? Wait a minute. Can you imagine if we have the Jets and the Giants at the top? Can you imagine?
This city would not.
This city would explode.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing I want to say about the Giant game, which to give credit, Saquon Barkley 152 yards.
Yeah.
This man, he's going to be a runaway. Runaway. I don't know. Would he be comeback because he was injured?
I don't know, only because of the Geno Smith comeback. That him versus Geno Smith is going to be an interesting debate.
Actually, I would say Geno is probably number one, the way he's been played. But Saquon's having a year so far.
Yeah. Let's go to the injury list from this week, guys. Very major injury. Cooper Kupp, high ankle sprain, out 5 to 8 weeks at least.
Their season's over. It's over. Sorry, it's over. If he's not on the field, they're not winning.
I mean, they looked bad when John Wolford was out there.
Oh, wait. You mean the battle of the backups?
John Wolford versus Colt McCoy.
And then the third string?
Colt McCoy got hurt, and so throw it on a dime like I ain't even trying. Trace McSorley makes an NFL appearance.
Wow. Didn't see that reference coming.
That was yes, that song. You know what? If Trace McSorley starts again, that song is just going to make a comeback again.
It probably will. But look at the rest of these injuries. Jerry Jeudy. I mean, no one really cares about the Cowboys at this point.
Jerry Jeudy. I think he had a. Well, I know Juju Smith-Schuster had a concussion. Zach Ertz, also a very potential major injury.
That I heard is season-ending potentially.
Dallas Goedert got hurt during Monday Night Football. Jerry Jeudy got hurt. These are some pretty major injuries, and these are major fantasy injuries because these are some pretty big fantasy names.
How are you doing in fantasy?
I am so-so. A couple of leagues that I'm doing very well in, but so-so.
Right. In line.
Yeah, mediocre. Not bad, but not good.
Oh, so like the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Don't compare me to the Cowboys.
How about that mediocrity?
How about them fantasy football?
Oh God!
All right, here are your Week 11 bye teams. The Seahawks are on the bye, so we're not going to see Geno Smith, but the Jaguars are off. The Dolphins are off. Congratulations. By the way, the 1972 Dolphins are probably having their party right now because of the Eagles' loss. And Tom Brady and the Bucks are taking the week off. So, guys, the state of Florida just decided it's time to relax.
Wait, did someone say relax?
RELAX.
God damn it.
Who let you back in? Go. Gotta lock that door.
Oh,
right.
yeah, right. Well, no, he's too busy taking his magic elixir.
He's too busy. He's too busy playing Final Fantasy while dealing with his girlfriend deals with the magic. He wants to become, a wizard of sorts.
He's Magic the Gathering.
His name is Magic the Gathering. He is no longer Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, wow. I haven't pulled that one out. No, that's like a 10-year-old reference, by the way. By the way, kids who are listening to this, you might not know what Magic the Gathering is.
And about Final Fantasy, a paladin. That's what I'm thinking. He wants to be a paladin.
I mean, his head is mostly skull anyway, so his head would definitely fit into the pointy hat.
Okay, rapid rundown time. All right, here we go. Thursday Night Football Week 11. It's the Titans and the Packers. The Packers, the -3 favorite in Green Bay. The Titans have a better record. I know the Packers are coming off the win. I know they're still in Green Bay, but
yeah, I said this last week. I'll say it again. I'm nervous about the Packers.
Yeah,
I would say the Lambeau difference does have an advantage here, so I'd say take the money.
You know what's pissing me off though? Like everyone's like, "Oh wow, they won. They're back." Pump the brakes.
And I don't even think a win over the Titans. Yeah, the Titans are. What is the Titans record at this point, anyways? The Titans record is 6-3. Yeah, I was gonna say I know they were 5-2, but 6-3. Okay, so I mean they're decent. They lead the AFC South, although the AFC South is kind of a pretty weak division. I'll go upset city. I'll go with the Titans on this one. I think the battle of Derrick Henry versus Aaron Jones ends with Derrick Henry winning.
Yeah, as much as in the past, Lambeau was always a home field advantage to the Packers. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Are they healthy on the wide receiver front? I don't know.
Christian Watson had a hell of a game, but I think I need to see more than one big performance too.
I need to see Lazard actually play and play well, to be honest. And I haven't seen that. So I'm taking the upset city as well with the Titans.
All right, so we're going with that. This game we're a little split on. We're out of the early window. No more early Sunday morning games, so we go straight to 1 o'clock. Eagles 6.5 favorite over the Colts. I think they need a rebound win, and as much as Jeff Saturday beat the Raiders, I don't think they're beating what is one of the most complete and better teams in the NFL, who now have a fire under them of revenge. I say take the money.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you.
I mean, this is going to be an angry game for the Eagles after the way they lost. By the way,
Jeff Saturday can beat the Raiders, but I mean, this is a considerable. Like cranking up the difficulty to very hard.
The line was what, -11? That was the line against the Commanders. Yeah, the Eagles are going to come out angry. Take the money 1,000,000 times here.
We have the Lions traveling to MetLife to take on the Giants.
This is a trap game.
This is definitely a trap game.
This is definitely a trap game. The Giants cannot take the
foot off the gas.
Yeah. Because the Packers said, you know what? This is the Lions. Maybe we'll finally beat our losing streak now. And look what happened.
Campbell has been making his guys go. I know they're not winning a ton of games. I mean, somehow they beat the Bears in really weird, upsetting fashion. But I don't know.
Which is the only way to win a game, really. It's all the rage these days.
I mean, I'm worried. I am worried, but I think I still want to take the money and have the hope that the Giants can maintain the can maintain their pace for
I
the
shall as
chase.
well.
I mean, yeah, I mean, the Lions are going to play aggressively like they played all season, but it's Jared Goff. I mean, they only won on a last second drive. That's why they won. Take the money.
We have an 2018 NFC title game rematch between the Rams and the Saints. If only there were actually those teams from that season.
This line kind of surprised me a little because the Saints, you don't know what you're going to get. You really don't. It's like Hank made a great reference to this on Game On.
Is Stafford going to play, by the way?
I believe.
I don't know.
The call right now is yes.
This is like the mystery box.
But you don't have Cooper Kupp now.
Right. But this is like the mystery box of Family Guy. What is it? It could be a box. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get. But the Cooper Kupp injury, I think that's toast at this point. So
I'm going upset city. I'll tell you right now.
Wait, you're taking the Rams?
Yeah.
You're taking the Rams.
Even without Cooper Kupp?
It's the Saints, dude.
I'm going upset city. I think Andy Dalton is leading this team in a different kind of direction. Yeah, they don't have Michael Thomas anymore. He's done for the season again because he's, I guess, a twig at this point. But I see this game being, could Alvin Kamara compete with that Rams defense? The Rams defense can be tough, but this is not a game I would want to bet on.
I would stay away from this game at all costs.
Far away. But I'll take the money I'll take the money just because.
Yeah, I mean, Cooper Kupp, no win. Take the money.
All right, we go now to the Bears and the Falcons. The Falcons are -3 favorite, despite the fact Justin Fields, it's the talk of the town right now, at least in the fantasy world.
Well, I mean, you lost to the freaking Lions.
I mean, but that wasn't his fault. They actually put up a pretty good offensive showing, but the Bears defense is just
I actually think this line is fair.
I'd say this line sounds about right, so I'll take the money.
Yeah, I mean, this line seems pretty fair. The Falcons have been playing, I don't know if I want to say decent, I'll say good football. They've been up there competing.
Good enough football.
Good enough football might be the key word.
The Bears are kind of scary to me right now. You can't lose to the Lions.
But the Falcons lost to the Panthers last week.
Yeah, but I would say the Panthers are a better opponent than the Lions.
The Bears, you mean?
No, I meant better win, I guess. But I don't know.
I'm gonna go upset city, boys. I'm going with the Bears on this one.
Oh, great! I'm the decider.
Yeah. Well, you seemed like you were going to go Falcons.
I think I'm going to go Falcons. The Bears kind of scare me.
They do too. This is the only time this season I'm trusting them.
We'll see.
Commanders at the Texans. The Commanders at 3.5-point favorite. I think they ride the momentum of the win.
Momentum train.
Yeah, take the money on the momentum train.
Take the money.
I should get a train sound effect. That'd actually be good.
So take the money all the way. And now, gentlemen, it is time for a pretty big game to discuss. It is the Jets and the Patriots in Foxborough. Patriots a 4-point favorite. If the Jets pull off the upset, they are first place in the AFC East. Oh my God, is this the lock?
It's the lock going the other way. I'm taking the Jets. Taking the Jets.
Oh boy, we got a Jets lock on this one.
And the reason I say that is momentum train again. They just beat the Bills in a huge win. They're off the bye week. Hopefully they got a little bit healthier. I like the way this goes. I'm taking them as a lock.
I'm going to agree with you. I think that I'm going upset city.
But you're not taking them as a lock, right?
No, I'm not going to take them as a lock, but I think they learned their mistakes from the first loss to the Patriots, and they do it here. I go Jets.
Yes! Woo!
If it doesn't work out, we could just go Jest.
Just.
No, don't do that.
All right. Panthers and the Ravens. The Ravens are a -12 favorite. That line kind of scares me. I'll take the money, but the line scares me a bit.
Hello, Mr. Lock. So this is
Whoa!
as close as you're gonna. Yeah, this is close.
Okay.
Gonna be close as close as to what you were gonna get to a lock. So
Okay.
That's a little scary. I don't know if I'd lock on a 2-touchdown line. That's a little scary. And the Panthers, believe it or not, you're going to think this is crazy, but they actually have been competing, even though their quarterback situation is a mess. But God, I don't know. What do you think, Tom?
I'm gonna go with the Ravens. I still say take the money.
I would take the money, but I would not lock. That's a big line to lock on.
Okay. Bills and the Browns. The Bills are an 8.5-point favorite.
Now, the only thing I would say about this is I would be concerned about Josh Allen.
I am a little concerned about Josh Allen too, but they did play very well. The Browns, kind of iffy. I just realized I never made a lock so far.
Yeah, you're the only one left. I don't know how many games are left on the list.
I mean, can I do a retroactive lock and go back to a game?
I don't know. Nick, is it allowed? I don't know.
yeah, let him go back.
Okay.
What game?
To be fair, I didn't get to be fair, I didn't see the schedule in full till today.
Okay. What are you picking?
All right. I'm split between the two NFC East teams that we discussed at the start: the Giants, the Lions, and the Eagles and the Colts.
Well, of those, I know which one I would pick.
Which one would you pick? The revenge, the fire under my ass game?
I would take the Eagles.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. I would say as much as the Eagles were embarrassed.
They're going to be angry.
Okay, yeah. Okay. It's angry enough that I will do the retroactive. I fucked it up. So you know what? This is my lock. Eagles over the Colts.
First one in history, a retroactive lock.
That is the I screwed up. That is the retake. I will, however, go back to Bills versus Browns. I will take the money on this one.
Yeah, I'm concerned, but the Browns are going to brown, as Nick would say. Take the money.
Yeah. Expect the Browns. I'm taking the money.
All right. Gentlemen, it's now time for our next game. And hold on a minute. Do you hear that? Oh, no.
Wait, it gets worse.
It gets so much worse.
Oh, my God.
Fuck me.
I say, Schlosser, urinator tree, if you're out there, I would have, his series, The Greatest Game of the Horrible Games. I would have one ready for this one.
Actually, I'll go one better.
I'll still take the money just out of sheer defensiveness, but this is not going to be NFL Films caliber.
No, you're not going to have any highlights from this game. But you know what? I would rather trust Russell Wilson and Cortland Sutton over what Derek Carr.
Wait a minute. Over the offensive genius, Josh McDaniels? No.
Offensive genius. Guys, they have put Devontae Adams out of the top 5 of receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, he's an offensive genius if you spell genius with a J and a Y.
Genius.
Actually, I was going to say offensive Guinness because he probably drinks a lot as the head coach.
It's offensive genius. It's offensive genius versus offensive genius. It's Josh McDaniels against Nathaniel Hack.
Oh God! Look, this. Oh my God! I didn't even realize that either. Oh.
Can I vote for both teams to?
Can I vote for a tie?
No. Can I vote for a cancellation?
Nope. Sorry.
Lightning cancellation.
Nope. Sorry. It doesn't work that way.
Okay, I'll take the money then and go Broncos. Broncos country. Let's ride.
I mean, this game is so bad. I mean, Josh McDaniels should be fired. I don't know why it hasn't happened yet. Devontae Adams looks like a joke. Derek Carr is way overpaid. Russell Wilson sucks. Have I said anything positive about this game yet?
No.
Take the money.
Cortland Sutton, you're talented. You're just in a bad system.
This whole game reeks of desperation.
All right. Bengals and the Steelers, with the Bengals a
Wait,
4.5-point favorite.
Was this a flexed game or was that next week?
Yes, so this was supposed to be Sunday Night Football this week, and NBC said, yeah, no.
If this was a couple of years ago, maybe.
Pretty good. But the Steelers are the Steelers. The Bengals, yes, they don't have Jamar Chase, but I've got a feeling Joe Burrow's just going to throw to, to T. Higgins or to Tyler Boyd, or maybe Joe Mixon will just run for 6 touchdowns this week.
I feel bad for Kenny Pickett.
This is going to be a bloodbath.
Be careful. Are you saying to respect the Bengals?
RESPECT the Bengals.
God. Yes, take the money.
RESPECT. Please respect. No, I was going to say RESPECT. Please respect Cincinnati.
So don't disrespect the Bengals.
Don't disrespect the Bengals.
Just be careful. When you said that last time, they got blown out on our Monday night live stream.
And to be fair, I said at the end, okay, disrespect the Bengals. Cowboys and the Vikings in Minnesota. Cowboys a 1-point favorite.
By the way, this was a game I was considering for a lock. By the way,
this is just a pick'em at this. If it's a 1-point line, this is a pick'em.
Right.
I'm gonna go upset city and pick the Vikings because it's like they're at home. They've got the momentum. The Vikings are a better team than the Cowboys.
Give me upset city, please. I will be so happy.
This was the other game like I said, I was tempted to lock on the Vikings because they look so good right now. Now, Kirk Cousins makes you brain dead sometimes when you need to think about whether they're going to win or not.
He makes you want to throw up.
He makes you want to take up drinking. Oh, wait. He keeps ending up on viral videos on an airplane. But did you see that video?
Yeah. The only question I have for you, Nick, is you like that?
You like that? You like that? You really like that?
No, we don't, Kirk. Stop that.
Oh, we will take the money. We will not take the money. We will go upset city.
I was going to say, you almost made the same mistake I made last week. Upset city.
Upset city. Sunday Night Football this week. The new game. The Chargers are on for the 2nd week in a row. And the Chiefs. Because we have to have Patrick Mahomes versus Justin Herbert, even though the Chargers offense looks like absolute shit without Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
This is going to be a bloodbath.
I like Josh Palmer. I like Herbert. Eckler, but no.
This is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, Mahomes. All I'm going to say is, you know what we're going to hear constantly throughout this game, I bet? Mahomes to Kelsey. Mahomes to Kelsey. Mahomes to Kelsey for the touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be ugly.
And then Monday Night Football live from Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. It's the 49ers and the Cardinals, an NFC West divisional matchup. The 49ers a -8 favorite. So
wait a minute. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, here's my question. Does Kyler Murray start this week?
Or does Kyler Murray play Call of Duty?
Well, you know what? Expansion comes out on Wednesday, so I'd have to say no.
So here's the thing, guys. Kyler Murray didn't play last week because of his hamstring, because we mentioned Colt McCoy and Trace McSorley. And the Cardinals actually won. So they're 0-2 since the Call of Duty game. But since the Call of Duty game came out and they didn't have Kyler Murray as starting quarterback, 1-0.
I still am going to take the money because I do think that Christian McCaffrey is going to run over the field as if it actually is, as if he's playing football. So,
wow, way to get a soccer reference in there.
Hey, I'm allotted at least one of the show budget.
The World Cup is coming up this weekend.
Who cares?
I think Kyler Murray does. I think Kyler Murray does play, but like Nick said, I mean, I don't think it really matters too much. I'm going to go with the 49ers. Do I take the 8-point line, though? That's the question.
Yeah, I would. CMC or Run CMC, more of my favorite nicknames.
Even though, sorry, Nick, I was going to say, even though, what's his name? Elijah Mitchell came back and actually got more touches than CMC.
And they actually had an unfortunate injury happen. Who was the guy that came back after being in rehab all year and then he tore his ACL again? The cornerback, I think, right?
It's 49ers. The corner, it was what's his name?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but he just came back from rehab.
Oh, Jason Barrett.
Yeah, he got hurt in practice at first day coming back. Talk about unfortunate injuries.
That was bad.
But yeah,
I'll agree. I'll take the money.
Yeah, take the money. By the way, there's something else you should say about this game too. There it is.
So we may not be in Mexico City on Monday, but you know what? With Thanksgiving coming up, we need to give you guys all a treat. So one more Monday Night Football live stream on Monday, the 49ers Cardinals game. We will do a little watch along.
Bring your chips, your salsa, your margaritas, and watch Nick scream at the TV.
It's going to be a cold night, so you might as well want to bring some hot chocolate in a thermos.
Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be good.
Are you a marshmallows person?
Depends on the kind of marshmallow.
And
What?
you know what? And you know what? This is another game where we don't have a fighting interest in, so we could just be neutral commentators here.
No,
Dance, puppets, dance!
No, just wait till December.
Oh, yes. So December, we have... The reason I said one more Monday Night Football stream is because, yeah, we're going to do one more stream. It's not going to be a Monday Night Football game, but let's say it is a primetime game, and let's say it does involve a certain one of our teams. And if you know the one of our teams that has already been in a primetime game, then you know who's left, and you know what game that might be if you look at the schedule.
Oh, wait. You talking about Jets Jaguars?
Merry Christmas.
Oh God, that's right. I forgot.
It's a few days before Christmas. Yeah, so I guess the spoiler, the December stream is going to be Thursday Night Football, Jets Jaguars, Week 16, before Christmas.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God, we made it.
Yeah,
under 2 hours. Woo!
All right, just under 2 hours. This is basically 2 hours.
I'll take it.
Okay, make sure to hit that like button again. Make sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you get notified for everything. Empty the Bench, Beyond the Bench, MMA Outsiders, Game On, Fruity Cereal, and Living Life, and the newest show to the Empty the Bench Network, 5 More Minutes Mom.
Yes, if you love nostalgic TV, that's the show for you. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell.
Please hit the bell. Please always tune in. That's going to do it for us. For Nick Federa, Nick Morganson, I am Tom Albano. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody!
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.